Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about interparticle forces. Nothing but when two particles are in contact with each other, what kind of forces are acting on those particles. Okay, so in suspensions there are many particles which come in contact with each other, and these forces will determine whether they will attract each other or whether they will repel each other. So if they attract each other, then what will happen? All the individual particles will unite to form a flock or an aggregate, and such a system is said to be flocculated. But if the forces of the particles are such that the repulsive forces are excessive than your attractive forces, then the particles will repel each other and they will exist as separate entities. That is, you can say they are remaining dispersed or they are in a deflocculated state. Okay, so dispersed is nothing but deflocculated. Flocculation is nothing but aggregation. So the loose aggregates, they are also known as flocks, which are seen in a flocculated suspension. So now we'll have a look at what are the different kinds of forces acting on the particles. Okay, there are various forces which act on the particles whenever they are in a medium. Number first is your electrostatic repulsive forces. Okay, these electrostatic repulsive forces, they arise from the overlapping of the diffuse double layers of approaching surfaces. Nothing but whenever the particles are in contact with a solution, you will have the double layer formation. So due to the overlapping of those double layers, electrostatic repulsive forces are formed, and these forces will depend greatly on the concentration and valency of the electrolyte in solution. So for example, the electrolyte is sodium, you know that its valence is 1. So that repulsive forces, they greatly depend on the concentration and the valence of the electrolyte in solution. Okay, next you have van der Waals attractive forces. So this I have already told you in the previous classes. When starting we had discussed about flocculation and deflocculation, about van der Waals attractive forces and about repulsive forces. So these van der Waals attractive forces, they arise from the electromagnetic fluctuations in the molecules that make up the surface. So with the molecules which are on the surface, okay, those molecules, due to the electromagnetic fluctuations in those, you will get those attractive forces, and these forces are independent of the electrolyte because they are on the surface. How much ever electrolyte is present in the solution, these van der Waals attractive forces, they are independent of the electrolyte solution. Okay, next various forces includes here repulsive hydration forces, bond repulsive forces, adhesive forces, steric repulsive forces. Okay, these other forces are minor and they are not important, but why I am telling you about this is just to make you understand the concept of suspension very clear. Otherwise these forces and all is not important, but DLVO theory, you can say sometimes it may be asked. Till now it have not been asked, but just for better understanding, it's better if you understand this. Okay, so repulsive hydration forces is nothing but they are also independent of electrolyte solution, and they arise from the structuring of water in the interfacial region. So how water is structured, due to they arise from the water structuring in the interfacial region. This repulsive hydration forces. Okay, next bond repulsive forces, they are of short range and they are due to repulsive effects of atomic orbital overlap. Okay, every element will have its own orbital, right? So due to overlap of this atomic orbital, due to the repulsive effects of such atomic orbital overlap, they give rise to bond repulsive forces. Next you have adhesive forces. Adhesive forces arise when the surfaces are in contact. Okay, so these forces will depend on the pH, specific cations and the crystallographic orientation of the surface. Adhesive forces. Okay, so this is very minor, just for your understanding, please try to understand. Steric repulsive forces, they depend on the size, geometry and conformation of molecules that are adsorbed on the surface. So these steric repulsive forces, they are due to that depend on the size, geometry and conformation of the molecules. They depend on the size, geometry and the conformation of the molecules that are adsorbed on the surface. Okay, these are about various forces which acts on a particle. So what is DLVO theory is nothing but the four scientists, that is Deriaguin, Lando, Vervey and Overbeek. Okay, if you want I can mention their names here. Okay, it is Deriaguin, Deryaguin, Deriaguin. Then L stands for Landau, Lando. Okay, and then V stands for Verwe, Vervey, and O stands for Overbeek. Okay, and this is Verby. DLBO theory. Deriaguin, Lando, Verby and Overbeek. They recognize the concept of balance between electrostatic repulsive and van der Waals attractive forces between the particles. I have already told you there are two main forces that are responsible for flocculation and deflocculation, and they include your electrostatic repulsive forces and van der Waals attractive forces. So these four people, they have recognized the concept of balance between these two layers, that is between your van der Waals attractive forces and between the electrostatic repulsive forces, and this concept came to be known as DLBO theory. Okay, so they recognize the concept of balance between electrostatic repulsive and van der Waals forces between particles, and this theory, it states that the repulsive layer and the attractive forces, they vary at 3 electrolyte concentrations. Okay, what this theory states? This theory states that the repulsive double layer and attractive van der Waals forces, okay, they are at 3 electrolyte concentrations. So when electrolyte concentration is low, what will happen? When electrolyte concentration is high, what will happen? This theory explain. And at which electrolyte concentration, how the system is. Okay, so let us have a look at first if the electrolyte concentration is low. So at low electrolyte concentration, what is happen is the repulsive forces between the particles predominate. So when the repulsive forces are there, how you can expect? They will remain independent, that is they will remain as separate entities, and then you can say that they are remaining suspended or dispersed in the medium. So such a system is said to be deflocculated. Okay, at low electrolyte concentrations, the repulsive forces predominate so that the particles remain independent and the system is considered dispersed or deflocculated. Dispersed is nothing but a deflocculation. Okay, I repeat, at low electrolyte concentrations, the repulsive forces predominate so that the particles remain independent and the system is known as dispersed. But if suppose there is high electrolyte concentration, then what will happen? At high electrolyte concentration, the repulsive forces are greatly reduced. Okay, the repulsive forces are reduced so that the attractive van der Waals forces predominate. Here now what are predominating? Here attractive van der Waals forces are predominating. These net attractive forces that the particles encounter. So now what the particles are facing? They are facing attractive forces. Due to attractive forces, what will happen? Each particle will attract each other. So when they attract each other, they will form an aggregate, right? It is known as aggregation or coagulation. So these net attractive forces that the particles encounter cause the formation of an aggregate of particles. So now you can see an aggregate of particle is formed, which is known as coagulation. So this process is known as coagulation. So what the DLBO theory is stating? Thus the DLBO theory explains that the addition of an electrolyte to a colloidal system causes coagulation. Nothing but aggregation or flux. Okay. So that is the concept of, that can be easily represented by a graph also. Here you can see this is the distance. Okay, distance of the particles from the surface. Right, and these are the repulsive forces, these are your attractive forces. A is means at low electrolyte concentration, B is at your intermediate electrolyte concentration, C is a high electrolyte concentration. So whenever you see at low electrolyte concentrations, what is happening? Yes, low electrolyte concentration. Here first let us see here. At low electrolyte concentration, the repulsive forces are more, right? Compared to your attractive force. Attractive force is this much. Here repulsive force are more compared to your attractive forces at low electrolyte concentration, right? So then the particles are remaining dispersed and the system is independent. at B, intermediate electrolyte concentration. Okay, again the repulsive forces are more than the attractive forces. But at high electrolyte concentration, what is happening? Yes, repulsive forces are greatly reduced. You can see repulsive forces are greatly reduced, whereas here attractive forces predominate. So these attractive forces will cause the particles to attract each other, and they will form an aggregate which is known as flux. Okay, so this graph, it indicates the effect of electrolyte concentration on the repulsive double layer forces and the attractive van der Waals forces. Okay, so the LBO theory can be easily explained by this graph. Okay, there is one more graph in Lachmann. So this is all from Lachmann. If you read that, he will say there are three layers: primary minimum, primary maximum, and I'll just show you with a graph. Okay, the main aim of that graph is also to explain the flocculation and deflocculation. But I did not want to confuse you. If you can just go through that reading, give the reading, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Okay, here also he is just explaining with the layers how flocculation and deflocculation occurs. Okay, this is distance. X axis is distance, y axis is your forces, and this force is your primary minimum. Okay, this is your primary maximum, and this is your secondary minimum. Okay, nothing but forces: primary minimum, primary maximum, and secondary minimum. So it is nothing but secondary minimum. Okay, secondary minimum, you have to know at what forces, whether you see flocculation or if you see deflocculation. Okay, so the magnitude of the repulsive forces at the primary maximum, the magnitude of repulsive forces at the primary maximum, it will determine whether a flocculated system will remain flocculated or not. Okay, because repulsive, right? So the what is the magnitude, that will determine whether a flocculated system, if it is already there, it will remain flocculated or it will not remain deflocculated. It will go deflocculated. Okay, so the strong attraction in the primary minimum gives rise to coagulation. So here you can see in the primary minimum you have attraction. So that will give rise to what? Coagulation. Same as a d'Alembert theory, right? So with this graph, I just want to explain that if the primary minimum forces are predominating, attractive, that they will give rise to coagulation. Okay, coagulation is nothing but what? Aggregation or a flocculated system. Okay, you can just give a reading to this kind of forces. Okay, and when low electrolyte concentrations is there, then the interaction curve contains a much larger primary maximum, and such a suspension is dispersed. So this we have already discussed. Here also we have discussed. This is dispersed, right? So here in the primary maximum, the repulsive forces are more. So when here your system is dispersed and here your system is aggregated or flocculated. Okay, it is very simple. Just go through it. Okay, so in this system here particles are deflocculated and the individual particles are dispersed as entities, and this suspension is known as deflocculated suspension. So in deflocculated, what I have told you, the rate of sedimentation is very slow, right? Whereas in case of flocculated, the rate of sedimentation is fast because the flocks tend to settle down faster. So please give a look and give a reading in the Lachmann book. It is if you read one or twice, you can easily understand it. For your understanding, it is better because it will help you in understanding the formulation. Next class we will discuss the formulation of suspensions. Very important questions. So if you understand all these concepts which you have discussed till now about flocculation, deflocculation, rate of sedimentation, theory of wetting, and about zeta potential and all these forces acting on the particle, then it will be very easy for you to understand the formulation of suspensions. Okay, please give a look. Please have a reading and prepare notes from Lachmann and the video. If you have any doubts, please let me know.